Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So finally today I'm doing something that you requested, and for those who were voting know exactly what I mean. The vote was taking place on my Instagram stories but also here on my community tab. So if you are still not following me on Instagram, or if you are still not subscribed to my channel, maybe you should consider so you will not miss out of another opportunity in future. So before I start, there is a couple of disclaimers that I would like to say, and of course the first one and the most important is that I am not professional and I'm not by any way saying that the way that I do it is the correct way. It's just the way that I personally do my draping process, and so far it has worked for me. So today I am not here to tell you how you're supposed to do it. I am here to show you how I get my things done. And the second disclaimer is that the design that I'm going to be draping today is not my design. I didn't come up with this idea. I went simply to the store, I went to Zara, I saw this blouse and I thought, I don't want to buy it, let's just make it as simple as that. So I guess we can start now. Welcome my secret helper that was helping me all this time to make all these videos for you. This is my non-professional figurine, mannequin, dress form, however you call it. As I say, it's not professional one, but as I am just starting my sewing journey, I think this was good enough for me. I paid approximately 40 euros for it, so for those who don't have one yet and also don't have a budget, you can find a cheap one that will be good enough for you for the beginning. And maybe you can also find a second hand in the thrift stores. You know, there are options that you can help yourself. So as the first thing that you want to do to your dress form is, if you don't have it already, you have to divide it in half, mark the waistline, at the back as well, the center seam, and all these things that, you know, you need to have in order that you can make a proper symmetric pattern. And I also kept my armhole marked. Then it means that I can just work off my sleeve that I already created before. So this is what I'm going to do today. So as you can see, there are some adjustments done to this form because it's not, of course, my exact measurements. So I had to do some adjustments in order that if I make a pattern, it will fit me as best as possible. And this piece of bias that I pin from one apex to the other one is just to fill up this gap that we all have in the center, mainly women. Usually you are just draping half of the pattern, and this is what we are going to do today. So enough rambling and let's just start. So you will need some sort of thin tape, something like that. What I use I will link down below, in order that you can draw the design on the dress form. So yeah, as simple as that. And as I'm looking at it right now, I think in my case there will have to be a dart here. I'm doubting that I can do this piece without a dart, but you know, these are the things that I'm also discovering as I'm doing this process. So now that it's ready, I can go ahead, take my fabric and start to drape. So For the draping, you will need pretty nice simple cotton. I found this one in a thrift store. It is an old bed sheet. You will also need few markers. I personally got these from Amazon. I will put the link down below. You will also need a fabric scissors, and you will need a lot of pins. So you need to first place the grain of the fabric in the center and pin it. I think I will go ahead and start immediately with this part, because I can see if I just flatten the fabric a little bit, it will sit nicely and it will be very easy. So let's start with this. So sorry for the scissors, but I have to hold them somehow. So as you can see, you have this piece of fabric that is just hanging here, and if you just leave it like that, the fabric will not sit nice and flat on it. So what you have to do, be careful to not cut under this red line over here. If you don't see it right now, you will see it later, don't worry. But go ahead and cut above this, just to remove a little bit of this fabric, because you won't need all of it. Now what you need to do is to make few snips. Again, be careful, do not cut below the mark. And if you look now, the fabric is sitting very nicely around this neck curve. So you go ahead and pin it nice and flat over here. So now I will take the marker and trace all the lines that I can see. And I try to be precise. I take my time, because this will save me a lot of headache when I will be sewing. So I try really to be precise and match all the points. So voila, this is the first pattern piece. So we can give it number 1. So now I will continue and try to pin this second part. So I can see that there will be no need for any dot in this center part. This will be, of course, all these pattern pieces over here in the center will be cutted on fold. But I can tell that I will need to do some snips here on this edge of in order that it can lie nice and flat. So what I will have to do, I will have to cut off this fabric right now. So again, I have to be careful about this line. I have to cut here. I have to be careful to not cut too little, so that I will not be able to make my pattern piece after. So I always give myself a lot of material to be sure. And as you can see, the tension on the fabric is already released, and it's by itself laying nice and flat on this 3D form. I think I will cut a little bit here as well. And I will also remove this piece of fabric down here. I will cut here also. Because what you don't want to do is just to pull fabric, you know. This is not what you're supposed to do. You should shape the fabric, but not by force, by pulling, because you will draw the shape, but once you unpin it and put it on the table, you will see that it is not straight lines anymore, it is misshaped. So this is what you don't want to do. You just want to shape it by doing snips in the fabric, by relaxing the tension, and so now I can go ahead and draw this part. So now, when you have a pattern pieces that are very fitted to the body, usually they will be very curvy, of course. It depends on what is your body type. But if you have any curves on the pattern pieces, it's the best to put some notches in order when you will be actually pinning pattern pieces together that they will be really pinned well. And personally, I do not have any problem. I can see all the lines that I draw under, so I don't really have to remove these pattern pieces. So over here everything is laying nice and flat so far. So in this part I think I will not have to do anything, but here around the armhole this will be another story, and I will show you quickly. Let me just remove some fabric because I have too much over here. So again, carefully trying to see how much fabric I actually need. I will go and cut from here, then from the side, again keeping myself an extra fabric just to be sure. I will do little snips again on this side. So right now I can tell that there will be definitely have to be a dart, because there is just like whatever I'm trying, there is just too much volume of fabric. So I think I will personally like it if I will place the dart here. So I will go ahead and try to smooth this. Just I will hold it by hand just to see if this part is laying nice and flat. And whatever volume that you have here, you need to just pinch it like this. Nice, and you try to go you don't go exactly on your apex, but close to it. You pinch it nicely. Now I can continue to the side, so you can see all of this is nice and flat. So I can just go ahead and pin it. The problem here is again the armhole. So again, carefully I will go and cut off the excess fabric because I don't need it. And now again, carefully snipping the fabric to release all the tension. So I will pin it again and mark all this pattern piece. So I can see the notches through the fabric. I will mark them as well on this pattern piece. And I think you are able to see over here I did exactly the mistake that I told you not to do. But I want to show you, so you can see that I am missing a little bit of fabric over here. So I will have to fix this. I will mark the other side as well and the armhole. Don't worry too much about the lines to be not completely straight, because once you put it on the table and you will be transferring to the paper form of the pattern, you can make all these lines nice and sharp with the rulers. So as I was looking at it, guys, I realized that from front I didn't like all these lines and the dart over here. So this is actually a good opportunity to show you how you can quickly change it with no problem. I want to have it on the side. So what I will actually do, so I will put it nice and flat here. Don't worry about these pins, I just put the extension of fabric because I stupidly cut it too much. So I will go ahead and try to pin it as flat as possible. So what I did now is that I move this volume that was previously here, I move it to the side. Now I will redraw this part with different colors so you can see exactly what I changed. So the purple line is the line that I'm going to be transferring to the pattern. And I will continue with the back of the dress form. One important thing before I take it away is to mark the grain line, because this is quite important when you are cutting your fabric. Let's do a quick cooking break, guys. pattern. Sorry guys. So now for the back. I think this will be fairly easy. I think there will be no darts. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So again, I will take a piece of fabric, put it straight on the grain. I will pin it in the center again. So again, thankfully, I think there will be not much headache for this first. So I will start from the top. I will smooth the fabric, pin it, then over here on the side. And then up here, as for the first pattern piece, we need to do little cuts in the fabric. Pattern piece number 4. I think I will do this part now and then this one separately, so I do not need so much fabric here. Now there is a little curve here, so I will do a few snips as well. It's already sitting nice and flat, and trace all the lines. This one was easy, guys. And now finally the last one. So again, I will take another piece of fabric. I will pin it up here first. I will pin it also here, so I know I have it straight. And now what I'm going to do is first to pin this side, because it seems like everything will be nice and flat over here. So I will go ahead and pin this. I think I will do a little snip here. I have a feeling it will be better. And then I will go ahead again around the armhole and cut all this fabric away. Again guys, be careful to not cut too much. And by now you know, little snip. And I always try to just pull it up and see how the fabric has to go in order that I know how to do the snips. It's all about just manipulating the fabric and trying to lay it nice and flat on the dress form. I will just continue and do the side seam and the bottom. I will cut little bit of fabric away because it's just too much, and also here down. And so as you can see, it looks quite nice, but here is some weird thing going on with the fabric. It creates this kind of weird wrinkles, so I know that I have to release some tension over here. And you can see immediately when I'm cutting it, the fabric is like, okay, I'm relaxed now. So look what a difference. And now finally we can go ahead to paper, transfer all of it. There is still some work to do before we have this pattern finished. Okay guys, so now that I made myself this delicious drink, which I highly recommend you to go and make yourself one, and I have all the pattern pieces that I draped on the dress form, now it's time to put them on the paper. So you are going to need your pattern for reference, some paper scissors, pencil, pen or marker, tracing tool. You will need something to measure, a couple of rulers, and some paper. I am using basic craft paper.
Just the touch of your hand makes me tremble with it.
So now basically you need to take your pattern piece, tracing tool, and trace all around the edges of your pattern. And one thing I want to say, I was wrong when I was saying that this pattern piece number 1 will be cutted on fold. It is not, because it will be actually 2 pieces sewn together somewhere until here, and then there will be a fold, because as you remember, and now you can see it over here,
You are my world in every place. It's the things that you do
So immediately after I draw this simple pattern, I'm thinking about all the details that are very important from technical point of view, from the construction point of view. So as I said, actually this piece will not be cut on fold, it will be two pieces. But what will happen here, that first of all, of course, everywhere we need to add seam allowance. But here maybe a little bit more. I will say I will add here 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. I will have to overlock this seam first as well.
Together forever, never to part. I wanna be with you always.
This one will be cutted on fold, which also means that it will be cutted only one time. And it also means that there will be no added seam allowance over here. So for this pattern piece it will be a little bit more complicated. I mean, not really complicated, but as you remember, there has to be a zipper in order that you can go inside and out of this top, because it's not elastic fabric, there is no shearing down or anything, so there has to be zipper. I decided to put it on the side. I have never done it before, and I also have a dart on the side piece, so I don't know how it is going to go. I think we can manage this. The zipper will be obviously on one side, right or left, whichever you choose, but the point is that on one side the seam allowance of this pattern piece and the other pattern piece from the back will have to be 2 centimeters in order that it can accommodate for the zipper. So you will cut this pattern piece twice. So here are all my pattern pieces already drawn on the paper. For this ruffle I just need to measure circumference of the neckline, and for this one the circumference of the waist, and maybe I will multiply it by 2, and I think that this will give me a good length to make a nice ruffle. So guys, I think this is it for today. So we made pattern pieces from these pieces of fabric that we drape on the mannequin, and let me show you again what are our pattern pieces. So all of these are the pieces that we will need for sewing later on. This is also the ruffle for the neckline, which will be cut on the fold. I didn't make a pattern for the ruffle that will be on the waist. So we have few pattern pieces, and for the sleeve I'm going to use the same pattern that I used for my Diana inspired dress. If you haven't watched this video by any chance, go ahead, enjoy. And if you want to know how I'm going to assemble all the pattern pieces and you want to assemble them at home as well, but you need someone to help you, then subscribe to my channel and watch the next video, because the next one is going to be exactly this. Thank you again guys for watching, for commenting on my videos, for giving me suggestions. Again, thank you for all of those who voted here on my community tab or on my Instagram stories. Thank you again guys, and see you very soon. Bye!